Hey guys, this is Nessa and welcome back to my channel. Today we just finished filming a video about one of the most requested questions, which is out of 28 countries, what did I pick Kenya? I will be separating this video in 3 different segments. Number 1, what were the criteria that I considered in order for me to move to another country? Number 2, the journey that made me move to Kenya. And lastly, as an expat, I want to give you guys some tips and advice if you're really considering moving to another country. Let's go. Today in this video, we gotta talk about the second most asked question when it comes to my journey, and is why did I pick Kenya? The first most requested question is how am I able to do what I do financially. This video will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So in the past 2 years, me and my son have been traveling to almost 30 countries, and people always ask me, out of these 30 countries, why did you pick Kenya? So part 1, when I made the decision that I was going to move to another country, I put together a list of criteria that I considered before moving to that new country. Today I have my laptop because I made some notes for you guys. So the first criteria was I wanted to move somewhere when the Canadian dollars will stretch. The Canadian dollars is stronger than a lot of currency, but we are not as strong as the USD, Europe, Euro, and the pound. So it was important for me that I move in a country that my Canadian dollars could be at least good for me to move in that country. Now, if I'm being honest with you guys, Kenya is not the cheapest place I ever been to. It's not the most expensive place, but it's not the cheapest place. But coming from Toronto, Canada, living in Kenya right now, I pay about like 20% what I used to live in Canada. So it made sense for me to come here, and the Canadian dollars is strong enough here for me to survive and have a really nice lifestyle here. I will be talking at the end of the video about the importance of foreigners to be careful when they say that they go to another country and it's cheap, because as somebody that has Canadian dollar, it is cheap for me. But for the people, the locals that actually live here and they get paid in the local currency, it's another reality, and I think it's important that we talk about that. Criteria number 2 was the infrastructure. Is it developed? Internet connection, buildings, how does it look like? The roads and all of that. Kenya is super developed. I mean, what I mean by that is internet is amazing, water, electricity. We don't have any problem. We don't have any load shedding here. As long as you pay for your tokens, you can have electricity as you want. And it was really important for me that the infrastructure was great. The roads, I mean, they are not the greatest roads, but you know, if you live in Quebec, Canada, I don't even think what's the difference. Truly, it's probably the same thing. So when it comes to the building and you have so much opportunities here in Kenya. As a business person that come to another country, if you want to build something, it's super important to consider the opportunities in Kenya. It's really a good place to do that. Also, for my tech people, you better move here because the opportunities are endless. The third criteria for me, what was important in a country, is was it a walkable country, walkable city, and transportation. In Kenya, Bolt and Uber is extremely cheap for us to use, and if you want to take that option, it's okay. You just take a boda and you go about your day. You can also have a private driver. It's not that expensive to have a private driver here in Kenya. I personally don't have it and I don't need it right now, but it's really possible for you guys to do that. When it comes to walking, the roads are great enough for you to go on walks. And where I live in Kenya, everything is available to me close by, so I can walk everywhere. And that was really important for me because as somebody who doesn't, I'm not going to have a car anytime soon in Kenya, at least for the next year. It was important for me that me and my son could go around the city and walk around the city safely. The third point for me that was really important is community. Am I going to be able to build community in the country that I will be living in? So as somebody that come to another country, it doesn't know anybody, it was really important for me to consider if I could build community here in Kenya. And I'm going to speak specifically about Nairobi because this is where I live. Every day there's something to do in Nairobi. Every day you can have fun in Nairobi, you can go out. If you're bored in Nairobi, it's because you want to be bored, because it's almost impossible to be bored in a city like Nairobi. I always say it takes a village to raise a kid. So yes, it was really important for me to have a place with great community, and Nairobi is absolutely amazing for that. The fifth one is access to the airport. Yes, I made a decision that I was going to move to another country. My traveling journey with Noah is far from over. So it was important for me to live in a city that have access to an airport close by, and I actually live 20 minutes away from the airport. But most importantly, traveling in Africa all year taught me one thing: it is not easy to travel within countries. It is almost impossible to travel within countries sometimes. I find that Kenya and South Africa are two of the places that offer more flights to other countries. So it was really important for me to actually pick a city that has a flight that can go to a lot of African countries, and also Europe and Canada, because I will be going back to Canada once a year. So it was really important for me to think about this stuff. The other point was kid friendly. Obviously, I'm a single mommy. I have a son, so I had to make sure that the city and the country that I'm moving in was safe for me, but also for my kid, and also like what type of activity can I do for my kid? Was it proper to homeschooling because no one's going to be homeschooling, and all this kind of stuff. As somebody that lived in Canada as a mother with Noah, I feel like um, sometimes I I'm stressed when I'm in Canada or when I'm in the States with my son, because I receive a lot of like a judgment and stares for people for my kid just being a kid. So when I started traveling outside of the Western country, and I realized that you know what, there's some country in this world that value kids just being kids. So I want to know how to grow up and be him, not having to stop yelling or stop, don't do this and don't do that and sit down and behave. We don't have that problem in Nairobi. They love kids. I don't even feel like a single mom here. Honestly, there's always somebody that is willing to help me in Nairobi, and I absolutely love it. And as a single mommy, that was really, really important for me to have that. The other point is healthcare. Am I going to be able to find some good healthcare for my son and I? You guys need to understand that Noah and I are 100% healthy, and we don't have any health issues. And every year we're gonna go back to Canada to have physicals and medicals to make sure that we are okay. So healthcare is not necessarily super high on my list, but I also needed to make sure that if something happened, an accident, no, me and Noah, we're not gonna die. We need to survive. You know what I mean? So when I'm in Mauritius in Kenya, is it the best place, healthcare place in the planet? No, it's not, but it's really okay when it comes to minor things, and that's what really what all I needed when it comes to healthcare. Now, if you have a special needs for your kids or for yourself, this is not the video for you, and I cannot advise you or recommend you anything when it comes to Kenya, because I am not in this particular situation. But for somebody that is healthy, yes, Kenya will give you whatever you need when it comes to medical and stuff like that. Last but not least, which is the most important thing for me, the help. Listen, I came to Kenya for the help and the services. I have a full time nanny, I have a full time cleaner and helper, which happen to be my nanny too. If I want to have a private driver, I can have a private driver. I just choose not to. I have a private teacher to help me with homeschooling Noah. I have everything is so easy. So as a single mom, all I need to focus on right now is raising my kid without the exhaustion of extra stuff to do in my life. What I mean by that is I go to work, and when I go back home, you know what? My house is clean, my laundry is done. If my son is with the nanny, he is fed and he's put to bed. I really needed that. As somebody that worked out full time, it has multiple businesses. I really needed a country that could give me the help. And if I'm honest with you guys, this is the number one reason why I live in Kenya. For less than $2,000 Canadian a month, I have all these services. I have a building with amazing amenities. I don't even need to leave my building. I mean, I can work from my building. I have my gym here. I have a sauna here. I have my pool here. I have a huge playground for Noah here. There's a social part here. There's a movie theater here. I don't miss anything. So for me, the most important thing was to make my life easier. It's something I'm able to do in Nairobi. 100% of my life has been way easier here. I'm still exhausted, but I'm way less exhausted than I've ever been in my whole motherhood journey. Now that you guys know all the criteria I was looking for in a new country that I wanted to relocate, why did I pick Kenya? Well, I feel like I didn't pick Kenya. Kenya picked me. I'm just saying. What I mean by that is at the beginning of the year, I asked God when I made the decision to leave Canada for real this time. I asked God to guide me in a journey when it comes to find my new home. I was craving a routine and I was craving stability for me and my son. So of course, I had to ask God, like, can you please guide me in this journey? So when I left in February, uh, and I went to South Africa, which was the first country I ended up going in Africa. I spent like 4 months traveling within different countries, and none of these countries felt like it was home. It was really fun, but it was just feeling like it was a country that I was going to just to explore and discover and have an amazing travel experience, which I did have. So in May, after traveling to South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, and it was time to go to Kenya, I was not even trying to go to Kenya, but something strong in my heart, which was probably the Holy Spirit, made me go to Kenya. So I went to Kenya, and right away I felt like I was in the Caribbean. And if you know me, the Caribbean is my favorite place on earth because I am Caribbean. So that was the first time that I actually felt that way in an African country, and it felt amazing. Part three of this video. So the first thing that I think that you should consider as an expat before going to another country is the cost of living, of course. As an expat, we are really privileged to have probably a currency that is stronger than the country that you live in it. So for us to come to this country and brag about how low the cost of living is, it's not really accurate. The reason why it's low for us is because we have a currency that is stronger than there. I don't think that coming here and brag about it help the locals feel happy about us being there. Because if we really being honest, the more foreigners that come here, the more the cost of living is going to be going higher for them. So I think before you go ahead and just, oh yeah, it's so cheap to live here, whatever, think about the locals. Go talk to them. Have hard conversation with them. Make sure you ask them the hard question. Make sure you ask them like, what does it mean for you to live here? Are you even comfortable financially? Educate yourself before you leave about the way they're living. That's the best thing you can do for them as an expat. So again, I'm not telling you not to move to another country because obviously I did it too. All I'm saying is we need to be considerate of the people that have been living there their whole entire life and they do not have the privilege to leave the current country. Another thing that's really important, in my opinion, is to consider the country you're going to be moving in. For you as foreigners, the Westerners tend to come to the country and say, well, in Canada, this is how we do stuff. And in America, this is what we do stuff. Well, if you're this happy in Canada, in the States, and in Europe, my advice to you is to stay there. Well, don't come into another country with an open, with a closed mind and tell people what to do in their own country. Are you going to be frustrated sometime about the way they do stuff? Absolutely. Because I am frustrated about, the slower life, sometimes the slower pace, and Kenyan youth tend to be late a lot. It's frustrating. That's disrespectful in Canada. But you know what? I'm not in Canada. I'm just trying to, get into the culture. So again, my best advice is, I said it before and I'm gonna say it again. Go ask the locals, have hard conversations with them. They will guide you. I think it's great that the expat group exists. As if you want somebody to relate to your experience, at least you can always talk to your expat group, the expat people that you meet here. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is to have also have a lot of local friends because those are the people truly that can educate you about the culture and also make your process way easier. So another thing I want to talk about is some of the ways as an expat that can help you when you move to another country. So the first thing I will say as an expat that if you can support local businesses, support local businesses. What I mean by that is you're gonna find the same type of company that you have in the Western world. Uh, I'm not telling you to never go there, but I'm trying to explain to you guys that it is important for locals, for us when we come here and do our life here, that we give them their support. So what I mean by that is, for example, I'm just going to give you my example. I have my apartment and I took my apartment unfurnished and I made the decision that I'm only going to furnish my apartment with Kenyans companies. Now, is it going to take more time for me to receive my furniture? Yes, it is. It is all custom made, and actually, the work that they do here is absolutely incredible. So I'm really happy I made that decision. But just me taking giving my money to Kenyan people, instead of giving my money to Westerners or some Asian, make a big difference for the economy for them. Another thing you can do to help the locals is to hire them. If you have a business here and you come here, um, think about hiring some Kenyans in your business, incorporating them in your life. That will really, really make a difference for them. Um, Educate yourself about the cost of living here and what the price that you should pay them, and then you hire them and you pay them in their currency. Now, I'm just gonna say something. Tipping, American like to tip a lot. I'm not gonna tell you not to do it, but tipping really being, I don't know if you know, but tipping make the cost of living really high. So when you come to the countries that are not accepting tipping or they're not used to tipping, again, respect the culture. It's okay to give them a little bit more if they did a phenomenal job, but the reality is tipping culture in America truly is not good for a lot of other countries. Another point that can help you as an expat is to learn the language. I'm saying that today, and I don't speak Swahili at all. I know maybe 10 words, but I'm looking into the next year. Next year, I'm looking into learning the language, which will make my interaction with the locals way easier. And I know the jokes are probably like way funnier in Swahili anyway. Anyways, I'm making jokes, but I'm actually really serious. If you go to another country that doesn't speak the language that you're speaking, you at least need to try to learn the language. Is it going to take your time? Is it going to be difficult? Yes, but I think it's important for us as expats to go to the country and again, be open to learn the culture, and learning the language is probably one of the biggest respect that you can do as an expat in another country. So thank you so much for listening to my video. And I just want to clear something up. This is from my own personal experience. That means like every experience will be different, and I can only share you tips and advice from my own experience. I am glad I picked Kenya. Kenya is home, Kenya is Bay, and I can see myself living here for a lot of years. I don't even think I will leave Kenya. And I'm glad that, I listen to God. Um, yeah, again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.